Hello dear users of digital photogrammetric workstation PHOTOMOD. We are continuing a series of video tutorials dedicated to working with PHOTOMOD 6. In previous films we step by step created a central projection PHOTOMOD project, added images to it, created a camera, performed interior orientation of images, imported exterior orientation data, and constructed a block layout on the base of the them. The subject of today's training is a relative orientation of images and measurement of aerotriangulation points. Let's start PHOTOMOD and open project Arlen. Relative orientation data constitute geometric parameters that define a position of the one photogrammetric stereo pair image in the respect of another one. For performing relative orientation, it's necessary to measure at least 6 type points between each pair of images. It can be done both manually and automatically. Firstly, let's look at automatic measurement of type points. Corresponding button with lightning icon is located in AT toolbar. On the left side, a list of loaded images is situated. On the right side, a list of options, parameters and limits to relative orientation is located. Default option looks like this. With some changes we will talk about in a minute, we recommend to use them as the first iteration of measurements. These are options of measuring, transferring and filtering points inside of strips and between strips. Measure type points in stereo pair option speaks for itself. Transfer points option enables to construct triplets, that is, to transfer points measured in stereo pairs into neighboring overlapping images. Filter points option enables to delete type points, measurements of which will not correspond to specified limits. Limits themselves will be defined in a minute in the bottom part of the current window. Filter type points by adjustment results option enables to perform a block adjustment automatically with specified parameters and to filter type points on the base of its results. We don't recommend to activate this option because it's reasonably to control two roughly measured type points separately on this stage of adjustment. Report on relative orientation option speaks for itself. The basic parameters of type points measurement are points per stereo pair and correlation threshold. While having a good quality survey, it's recommended to remain default values of these parameters. While having bad quality survey, when the program can't recognize identical type points in images, a number of points per stereo pair should be increased and the correlation threshold should be decreased. Next, it's necessary to define limits for errors, maximum vertical parallax and maximum error in triplets. Vertical parallax is calculated like a difference between type point y coordinates in images forming a stereo pair. Maximum value of vertical parallax equals 1 pixel while having a good quality survey. For UAV images this value can be bigger. We will talk about it in one of the next video tutorials. For type points measurement in triplets, a maximum error in XY plane should equal no more than 1 pixel. Regarding maximum error by Z, it should be calculated as maximum error in XY plane multiplied by ratio of focal length of camera to the basis of survey. As you remember, a focal length of DMC camera is 120 millimeters. A basis of survey will be defined manually in a minute. As you see, options of measuring and filter points by zones are deactivated. They can be activated if it's necessary to provide uniform covering of images by type points. In purpose of decreasing search area of type points, such types of DEM like as RTM, AsterDEM or something like this can be loaded in this window. Such DEM should be preliminarily converted into internal PHOTOMOD format and saved in its resources. But we will not use this option now. As regards search area itself, it can be specified in the window of additional parameters. It's necessary to check whether default value of this parameter corresponds to actual distance between identical points in loaded images. Let's close this window, and in block scheme window I put marker in the area with the maximum number of overlapping images. Press button Open Images containing marker for measurement. In one of the opened images, with double click of mouse, I select well identifiable object. In my case, that is center of basketball court. After this, the marker will jump to some arbitrary position in the other images. Now my task is to measure a distance between actual position of marker and its theoretical position, in my case in the center of basketball court. To do it, I should make some operations. Firstly, I click by right button of mouse on the image and select distance measuring mode. Then, keeping left button of mouse, I move the marker into theoretical position. Simultaneously, white line with the value of distance in pixels will be drawn next to it. In my case, it equals 45 pixels. Let's perform the same operations with the other images. I see a maximum values of distance is about 131 pixel. Let's remember this value, because a value of search area in parameters of mathematical type points measurement should be bigger than this value. Being in points measurement window, I don't forget to measure a basis of survey. It should be calculated as difference between x coordinates of the same point in neighboring images. X coordinate of the point in the 112 image is 23 millimeters. X coordinate of the same point on the 113th image is minus 14 millimeters. 23 minus 14 equals 37 millimeters. Basis of this survey is approximately 37 millimeters. I come back to window of the automatic type point measurement and specify a maximum error in triplets by z. As you remember, it's calculated as maximum error in xy plane 1 pixel multiply by ratio of camera focal length 120 millimeters to the basis of survey 37 millimeters. It will equal around 3 pixels. Then I open the window with additional parameters and make sure that the default value of search area 500 pixels is bigger than 131 pixel that I measured before. Regarding other parameters of this window, I recommend you to remain them as is. You may read about them in detail in the PHOTOMOD user guidance. Press OK, press Start. Okay, while looking through a relative orientation report, I see that everything is okay, there is no any error. But in order to show you how to measure type points manually, let me to open one of the interstrip stereo pair, for example this one. I press a star symbol button near the name of stereo pair, and corresponding stereo pair in points measurement window will be opened. Then I select common points on open images mode in order to see just points common for this stereo pair. Also, I should make sure that overlapping areas are shown. In this area, all of my type points should be measured. Well, how to measure type points manually in these zones? Firstly, let's find well identifiable point in the images. For example, this one. And let's try to measure it both with using correlation and without using correlation. Without using correlation way looks like this. I put my marker into the same point in the top and in the bottom image, and press button add point on all images. The corresponding type points with the name 4 will appear in the list of triangulation points. How to do it with using correlation? I select well identifiable point in the top image and put my marker next to it in the bottom image. Not directly in it, but next to it. Then I make sure that my top image is defined as left. I press corresponding button, and after this I press button correlate all images to left. New type point window will appear, and PHOTOMOD show me a value of correlation of defining this point in the bottom image. I agree with it, and corresponding point appears in the list of triangulation points and in the images. I press apply, OK. Renew relative orientation report and see that number of points in interstrip stereo pair I have deal with equals 9 points. Let's close this window and let's open block layout window. Now I should include type points that I measured in order to make my block layout more accurate. I activate corresponding options in block layout window and press apply. As you see, block layout is reconstructed. I pay your attention that there isn't any universal set of parameters that would enable to perform relative orientation for any source data at once and without errors. Survey conditions, images quality, terrain characteristics, all of them depend on automatic type points measurement. Well, today we have performed relative orientation of images as a result of type points measurement automatically and manually. Next time we will measure ground control points.